On an average day, there'd probably be sort of 10 to 20 messages. It was constant. At the worst point, I think it was up to 300 on one day. My stalking began really quite simply. I'd got a Facebook message, as you do, from what I believed to be an older boyfriend, and it was just a silly sort of message. It wasn't until, I think, about 2 weeks later, and the messages had taken a little bit of a not so pleasant turn. When the messages changed, I was a little bit sort of shocked at how you go from being quite friendly and chatty to sort of being a bit bullying, I think, was how I felt. The so-called ex-boyfriend apparently sent messages to my husband, Paul, and he was like, well, I'm getting these messages, and I was like, oh, this is getting a little bit out of hand now because other people are being drawn in. By this point, I wasn't just getting emails, I was getting WhatsApp messages, I was getting normal text messages. It just all of a sudden really escalated to things like, I know you go running, I've seen you out running, and you've got a grey tracksuit on and a bobble hat. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I actually have. This person is not just on the internet now, they seem to know where I live. And then one morning I'd got an email to say, oh, you do listen to our song in the car. As I opened the front door, my car doors, both doors were open, and lined up across the front seat was all my CDs. It was at this point that I was like, oh my goodness, this person has been to my home, my children are in the house, they've got in my car without actually breaking into it either. I need help now. It was very daunting going to the police for the first time. It was embarrassing, but I'd reached a point where I needed help and I needed this to stop. So the police didn't hesitate in taking it really seriously.
We looked at what support Amanda needed. We, as the police, were obviously dealing with the investigation side of it. We wanted to make sure that her and her family were supported as well. We also worked with a local stalking advocacy, Veritas, who are specialists in the area of stalking and what support they can give to Amanda. So she was put in contact with them.
There was a point when the messages were so relentless, so threatening, and so many people were being pulled into it that I cared about, that I could feel myself, I knew I wasn't well.
So the level of contact was just huge and highly impactful on her, to the point that she was feeling, she'd been to the doctors for depression, she was on medication, and she'd started to self-harm. So it's having this massive impact on her and her family.
I was worried sick for Paul, worried the effect it was having on my children. I knew that I was in with the police, and I was like, I can't seem to stop or control any of this. And I did start to have suicidal thoughts. And I remember we were sitting in the room, and he said to me, Amanda, we've done a lot of work here. We are going to arrest your husband. And I just was, no. I remember that everything just, the room spun, I felt ill, and I was like, no. I was heartbroken. I was like, can't be Paul.
We then progressed the investigation looking at, like I say, the online addresses that have been used, the email addresses, the applications that we put in. Some of the information started coming back, which gave us some IP addresses linked to Amanda's home address. Amanda then gets a message, which is a photo message. So there's a photo at the background, which is Gatwick South Terminal. And then there's text on that photo akin to, your husband's still got lots of things going to happen to him. And what we found was that 10 minutes before that message had been sent, Paul's car had gone into Gatwick, and then 10 minutes afterwards gone out of Gatwick. When we produced a CCTV still of him in the Gatwick airport taking the photo that is then subsequently sent to Amanda as part of this message, again, he denied it was him in the photograph.
Sometimes I just don't feel like it was. So much has gone on that I feel like I'm looking at someone else. It's hard to believe that I still get up every day and. Sorry. I say it all the time, and I will always say it. For me, the police were fantastic. Never had enough message. now in control of my life. And we're getting there, me and the girls.